Good day buddies. Almost 2 weeks ago I've posted in our community asking for vid suggestions, and for today's video we're doing one of your dares. It's hard for me to choose one, so we've put them on this randomizer as usual. And the lucky dare is from our buddy Tim. And before we make a DIY version of the famous and beautiful Tahil Ants Fortress Formicarium, let me give a shout out to the coolest guys on our channel: Jeffrey Miles, Sean, and M-Pro Gamer. Thank you so much for supporting our project and making every episodes possible. Let me also say welcome back buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D Colony. The Fortress Formicarium is a vertical ant farm, so let's size the glass nest cover first. To our choose an outworld container, or the ants' foraging area. Now that we have the covers ready, let's cut some Sintra board next. For the mold, 1 for the base, and 4 for the 4 sides. We drilled the needed holes on it, including the one for water tower. If you wanna know how to make a water tower like this, I'll put this short easy build here, and on the description. We'll just assemble it to fit the glass cover. I didn't film making the actual mold we're using today, but here's how I make every mold that we use on most builds on the channel. When making a mold for an ant nest, I cut a Sintra board base on the size of the glass we're using to cover the nest. I just clip them together like this, then drill the holes for the bolts. This way they will perfectly align. We just need to adjust the holes on the Sintra board, as it's for the bolt heads to rest. I also cut Sintra strips for the corners. We cut its height based on how thick we want the nest to be. We're also drilling them on where we want the entrance, ventilation, or expansions locations is. Just a piece of advice: always place the entrance on the farthest spot away from the humidity source. We can also drill a hole for the water refilling tube here, if we're installing a water tower to the nest as its way of humidification. With all of it prepared, we can now assemble the mold using hot glue. Just make it sturdy enough to be able to hold the mixture. And don't forget to only apply the hot glue outside the mold. We'll cut a piece of paper next, with the same size as the glass, and draw the pattern to it. If you're familiar with my other builds, you know that I don't usually do this. But since we're trying to replicate an ant farm here, I want to make them look identical as close as possible. And we'll just place it inside the mold first. Then remove the protective cover of the glass. Install the bolt and nuts, and set it inside. We're using acrylic glass, and they bend over time, so bolt and nuts is the best to hold them. You can use magnets if you decided to use the standard breakable glass. We don't have that glass as of the moment, so we're using bolt and nuts to hold the acrylic glass. Let's install the water tower next, and we want the bolts to be surrounded by grout for more strength. So we're pushing the water tower a little far from it. We also need to prepare tubings for the entrance, expansion, and hydration. The next thing we'll do is to construct the sand mounds, or what will be the nest chambers later on. And of course we'll just follow the pattern we have drawn earlier. We'll secure the water tower part first, just like marking where it is. Remove it temporarily, so we can set a sand under it with at least 1 centimeter thick. This is to secure a view of the water level for the tower, so we'll know when to refill them. We also did the nearby chamber, before we installed the tower back. It looks like this for the lower chambers. Then we continue constructing the rest. Just take note, buddies, under the base of this sand chamber will be the front view. And the height will be the depth of the tunnels, so you can make it how you want them to be. What I love on setups with water towers like this, is that they can have a long-lasting humidity source. Anyway, after we're done with their chambers, let's install the tubings next. Don't also forget to install the second nut on each end of the bolts. The following is how we mixed sanded grout. I love using sanded grout on my builds, as it has a variety of colors. But whenever I ran out of it, I mixed one myself using a normal tile grout, and fine sand. Whatever color I decided, I used the ratio of 2 parts tile grout, and 1 part fine sand. On how much water? It depends on the project. Less water to make it thick like this, which I typically use on manual applications. And more water, to make a watery mixture like this one, which I love to use when pouring into molds. This time we are using a grey one. Wait. There's a disaster. We forgot to install a tubing for the entrance. We have no choice but to install it blindly now. Wish me luck, buddies, so we can hit the right chamber, and don't end up destroying it. Be careful not to make this mistake, buddies. The right time to place it is right here, before we pour the grout mixture, to prevent any troubles. After 48 hours. Time to check the outcomes of our builds. We'll find out if we've positioned the tubing entrance nicely. Cut the hot glue on one side. Then just remove the tubings so we can slide out the nest easier. The grey color is so nice. Now we just need to loosen the bolts, to remove the glass and clear the sand out of the chambers quick. And here it is after we rinse and brush the chambers under running water. We're lucky the entrance positioned right. We just carved out some grout away since the tubing is installed late. And we return the glass cover. I'm glad it turned out to look like the fortress formicarium in some way. We also made another one here, with deeper chambers. And an obviously smaller view on the water tower. Next, we'll do is design the outworld. We'll apply here how we designed our D-colonies outworlds. Cause I can't find the same decorations like on the Tahilant's outworld. So, we'll do it using our DIY terrains. If you want to make your own landscapes like this, you can check this vid here. And it's on the description as well, they're so easy to make. Anyway, let's figure out first the best spots for the decors. I guess I'll go with this one. Let's pour a grout for the base layer, which will hold the decors on place after it hardened. We'll just mix a lighter grout color above for additional highlights. Add something like fallen leaves from the artificial bamboo. And as usual, let's finish it off with a dry sand topping for the texture. I don't have a problem with the grey color. But let's paint the nest so we can actually replicate the colors of the Tahil's nest. Let's make a blue and black one like this on the pics. I'm setting masking tapes to the corners, so we don't need to worry about getting paint on the glass. The next day, it's all dried up. We made 3 coats of paint to achieve this colors. Done assembling. And it looks good. But let me try to make it livelier buddies. We got leftover acrylic paints, so we'll try to paint a background here. White for the base. And after it dries, we'll do a simple sky background. I guess that's the best idea I can get since we only have this colors. So sorry for the darkened footage buddies. I didn't notice the camera focus while doing the painting, so decided to cut out most of this process. But here's how it looks after. We'll just paint the clouds next. The next day after it dries, let's assemble and see the difference. And I can say it's huge. It's an absolute beauty with the sky background. Anyway, we have an expansion hole here at their side. We can either block it with plastic or with silicone plug. Or a cotton, or our DIY vent tubes here to allow ventilation if we're housing a dry loving ant species. We can do the same thing here at the top, but based on what I saw on Tar Heel. It's used as a hydration port. With tubing, and a mesh melted on one end to let the ants drink from it. And a rubber plug to the other end to hold their water. We don't have a plug like that, so we won't do it. But to make it simple, it function like a test tube setup position like this. Let's just block it with vent tubes for now. For the black nest, we didn't paint a background. Since it's still not fully dried yet, as it was constructed just a few days back. But stay tuned on the channel buddies, as we might see this ant farms on action very soon. And I hope we've given this dare a justice, even though we didn't replicate their outworld design and applied a touch of decolony's outworld. And before we end the video, shout out to our fellow ant keeping channel, Ant Hub India. Visit him for more ant keeping info from Asia. I just hope you have learned something from this video guys. Be a genie for the first time, by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button, that would help a lot. This is D-Colony, saying goodbye. For now. But hoping to see you on my next videos.